Effects of our own culture in our interpersonal communication at workplace. Our own culture has a huge impact when we interact with our coworkers or colleagues. Culture is something in which a person has been socialized, and it defines how things work around here. In a diversified workplace, there are people with different cultures, and they may not be familiar with the sign, gestures, or even the verbal terms that you use when you are communicating with them. They might take it offensively, or maybe they did not get the correct message, so there are high chances that your coworker misunderstands your message. For that, you must have intercultural communication skills. Let's suppose if a person who is previously working in a high context culture and suddenly he/she has been transferred somewhere in a low context culture, then he/she will face a lot of difficulties while communicating with them because of their own culture, so his or her culture would have a negative impact on his/her interpersonal communication skills at his or her new workplace. Culture varies group to group, and in a single culture, there might be subcultures, so defining or understanding a single culture is very complex. In some workplaces, it is rude to stare in the eyes, especially when you are communicating with your boss or someone ranks high in the corporate hagiarchy, and in some workplaces it does not consider rude at all, so the culture which you have inherited structures the way in which you chose to communicate or interact with your coworkers or other people. If a person who has been grown up in a culture that focuses on individualism, then he or she will communicate in such a way that he or she will only look for his/her benefit or perception without considering or thinking about their coworkers' perspectives. On the other hand, a person who has been in a culture that focuses collectivism, he/she will communicate with considering the whole team or workforce interest and views. It also depends on the culture whether the individual use emotions while communicating. Some culture influences a person communication style in a way that he/she expresses emotions. That happens when a person has belonged to a culture which encourage openness and honesty. Moreover, your own culture can have a positive impact on your interpersonal communicational skills at workplace. Suppose you grew in a culture that strongly considers ethics and morality, then you will communicate with your coworkers respectably and in a kind manner. Also, if a person was growing in a multi-culture, then he/she would have the ability to understand or communicate effectively with the coworkers who are belonging to a different culture in the workplace. Therefore, your own culture can help you to communicate effectively with those people who fall in the same culture. Like in some workplaces, small talk is usually acceptable, but in other workplaces it is not. They like to speak to the point, so if you have your own culture tells you whether you should go small talk or not.